Hey guys, it's Bradley, it's Ahaan, and we're going to bring you some of the best Thursday night content. Thanks for being here with us on the Player Profiler channel. Tailgate in just a moment. We finally have a good Thursday night game. But we thought so last week. We thought that we were going to get a good game last week when it was the Bengals versus the Ravens. But are we going to get another chance at a good game, Ahaan? Welcome to the Thursday Night Tailgate.
Brad, appreciate you for having me on. I know we met in person at the Fantasy Football Expo a little while ago, but this is our first time on screen together, I think. So exciting stuff. I was going to say I'm excited for this Seahawks-Cowboys game, not just because of the NFC implications, but also I made a tweet about it this morning. CeeDee Lamb and DK Metcalf are two of my favorite players in the NFL. They face off today, and I tweeted, I tagged @God, please let this be a good game. I don't want to consider the possibilities of this being a 34-3 game, but we know they exist on primetime.
There are only two games with higher projected game totals per DraftKings Sportsbook. That is Miami at Washington, and then we also have San Francisco at Philadelphia. Other than that, this is projected to be one of the higher over-unders. But given the trend that we've seen for Thursday night games, if I'm laying a bet on this, I'd probably take the under here, just how Thursday night games go. Short week, although not really for Dallas, right? And not really for Seattle either. They both played Thanksgiving, so it's not really been a short week. Maybe we are a little pessimistic, but nevertheless, we're here to get into some start-sit questions, and I'm going to bring you some rankings. Ahaan's going to bring you some stats. We're going to crush it for you guys, so throw them into the chat. We're looking forward to answering all of them. Make sure you're smashing that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet to the Player Profiler channel, make sure you do that by clicking the red subscribe button. Flowosaurus kicks us off, Ahaan, and he asks, hey guys, are you starting Lockett tonight over Achane if my backup is Kareem Hunt in PPR? What's your initial reaction?
I love this as our first question because I don't like Tyler Lockett at all tonight. Ooh. I think this is a DK spot, maybe a high ceiling volume game for JSN, but I don't like Lockett. I feel like he's a zone crusher. DK is the man crusher, and Dallas plays a lot of man. They rank number 2 in man coverage. I am not starting Lockett tonight. I think he needs to score to be fantasy relevant. And I can't trust Geno in that regard right now. If you're going to trust anybody on the Seattle offense, it's going to be DK or nobody. So I'll take my chances with Achane.
So to speak to your DK love, I have DK Metcalf right now, 5 spots ahead of the consensus on Fantasy Pros rankings. I have him at wide receiver 18. He's at 23. So I have mid-pack wide receiver 2 projection for him. Compare that to Tyler Lockett. I'm only 1 ahead of consensus on there just because of the game total projection that this could turn into a shootout. You mentioned the touchdown's going to get there, but wide receiver 27 in my ranking. So clearly DK ahead of Lockett tonight. But in the question of Lockett versus Achane, you can see a scary floor for Lockett if he doesn't get that touchdown. And Achane does not need 50% of snaps to return mid running back 2 for you. So I expect Achane to play, and I'm not really worried about Hunt either. Like, he's okay. If Achane is deemed inactive, you're going to have to play Hunt, but there are worse plays at that point in the season. So I would start Achane and just let Lockett hang out on your bench. Cool. Let's keep her rolling. Thanks. Flowosaurus, what's up, people? Have a good TNF. Yes, we bring the love. We bring the power. We bring the beer. I got my beer, and Ahaan's got his drink as well, his drink of choice. We encourage drinking of choice on this live stream. We have a good time. We have a lot of fun. It's a great time. Make sure you guys are putting your start-sit questions in the chat. Woo, this has been great. Yeah, let's all take a sip. Cheers to the first question.
Poland Spring does not sponsor us, but take from that what you wish.
They could. If you guys are listening to this, we are always open to sponsorships. We're looking for people, good people who are supporting the brand. So reach out to Matt Kelly if you guys want to be sponsors. Here we go. Anthony What's good? Love the tailgate. Love you, Anthony, jumping in from YouTube. Love the support. JSN. Okay, this is a deep cut one here, Ahaan. I know, but these are the types of questions that the people come for. The people, we give the people what they want in this podcast. And JSN, Greg Dortch, who's been crushing it lately with Michael Wilson out, Jonathan Mingo, who had a decent game last week, and A.T. Perry, who may have to step up if Chris Olave is out, Michael Thomas is on IR. It's going to be who? Perry, Kirkwood. Can't even think of some of the others.
Juwan Johnson. Don't forget our guy, Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, who's been dealing with injuries a lot this year. Jeez,
Yeah.
Pete. It's ugly at the wide receiver position. And your initial reaction, I'll pull up my rankings here, but what are you thinking with these deeper flex cuts?
I love the ugly ones because for those who don't know, I'm a betting guy, and some of my favorite bets are on the guys where people look at and say who, and that's the case with A.T. Perry, right? You mentioned Olave banged up, Rashid Shaheed banged up, Michael Thomas on IR. I'm gonna pick Dortch and A.T. Perry here. So with Mingo, the idea is he hasn't been getting the red zone volume recently that I would like out of a guy like Mingo. So unless he scores a touchdown, you don't really want any piece of that Panthers offense outside of Thielen. JSN, I mentioned, I feel like this is a DK script and it's a primetime game, short rest. Don't want to be starting too many of those wide receiver 3 guys on primetime. I like Dortch in that spot for a bunch of the obvious reasons. He's getting the volume, colors back, etc. But I also think the Saints this week against the Lions, a little preview. So my article on best bets this week came out. I have the Saints on my betting card this week because I think they actually stay competitive against this fraudulent Lions team where the defense is just not good at all. So I think Alvin Kamara actually runs all over the Lions, and that opens up touchdown upside for A.T. Perry. So I'm going to take Dortch and Perry here.
I like it. If we need two, my rankings indicate JSN and A.T. Perry are the two that I have. It's very, very close, though. Similar tier. JSN I have at 43. Perry is at 44. And then Mingo is at 48. Dortch is distant because there is the possibility. I haven't heard anything negative about Michael Wilson for this week. I thought he was close to coming back last week, but it just wasn't possible. So with the possibility of Michael Wilson being active, JSN, I would probably start tonight, and then we'll decide, because I would start Dortch over A.T. Perry if Michael Wilson is out. That's how I'd probably have it. So we'll see. It depends, but you said A.T. Perry and who else?
And Greg Dortch. I
yeah.
like the Michael Wilson is banged up, Kyler is back. Dortch was actually a guy, I'll keep it quick, but Dortch was a guy I was very high on for best ball this season, and it's kind of weird to say I was high on Greg Dortch in any sort of statement. But
anyone saying that, Greg Dortch is anything but high. He's right. Like one of the shortest people in the NFL.
Right, but I mean, he was a guy that I got a lot of in the last round of my underdog draft, so I believe in the ability to get open and eat a lot of targets. So Dortch and Perry for me.
I love it. All right, what it do, baby? Who we like tonight? ATS K3V1N. That's Kevin, I know, aka K Dizzle, joining us on the YouTube channel. Who do we like tonight? Well, the Vegas odds give Dallas 9.5 points. I mean, we can talk straight up. I think it's Dallas at home. The Seattle Seahawks have been extremely susceptible on the defensive side. But this is a home game. The spread is so large. I don't see how Seattle really makes a dent into Dallas. They need a lot of things to go wrong, the Dallas Cowboys, for there to be, Seattle to squeak out a win here, especially with Kenneth Walker out.
I do see how Seattle makes this a good game. It's because I think we get the rare Dak Prescott disaster class tonight. This is a look ahead. This is a glaring look ahead spot for the Cowboys. Look at who is coming up on their schedule. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. You think Dak Prescott is thinking about the Seattle Seahawks in warmups tonight? No, he's thinking about the Eagles. Dak Prescott against the spread is 3-11 when the Vegas total is over 54 since 2017, and the opponent's winning percentage is at least 500, and they're the underdog on the road, right? That's a lot of conditions, but I probably said it in a jumbled way. But everything points to Seattle tonight is a good bet against the spread. Geno, you can't trust, but that's what Vegas wants you to do. Don't trust Geno, right? That's what they want you to do. I like the Seahawks against the spread tonight.
Fair enough. So Seahawks against the spread, but I still think that, Dallas pulls it off. Geno, you mentioned Geno. He is my quarterback 18 for this week, so not starting him with a lot of confidence. We've seen Deron Bland pick six. It's six, right? Or five or six pick sixes is ridiculous. NFL record. So the secondary, even without Diggs, has been crushing it. So we'll see if those the quarterback, Geno Smith, and the wide receivers can step up in lieu of some offensive absences. Let's see. Anthony jumps in. He says he has to start Lockett. DJ Moore's on bye. And this is like by Apocalypse 2.0, right? There's only about 26 teams that are playing this week. And that means some dire straits, especially with injuries and everything. But we've got another question in the chat, and it's about Seattle running back Zach Charbonnet, who handled 80+% of the running back touches last week against a tough San Francisco defense. But with that volume, he's hard to bench. Are you playing Zach Charbonnet tonight?
I think Charbonnet is the perfect example of if you have no choice, you have to just swallow the pill and start Charbonnet. And, if he puts up a dud, then you just be like, well, I had to, you can't be upset at yourself for starting him. But at the same time, if you're expecting ceiling out of him, I got news for you, because this is not a ceiling game for him. You mentioned that Seattle could find difficulty scoring, which I agree with. I think if Seattle were to stay competitive in this game, like I said, they need a Dak disaster class. They're not going off offensively. So the touchdown upside is low. I think the floor is okay just because you would assume a negative game script, which means some dump offs for Charbonnet, and he is capable as a receiver and the breakout finder, like Charbonnet for that reason. So if you start him and he scores 5 points, don't be surprised. I'd be more surprised if he actually puts up an RB1 performance.
Yeah, I have Zach Charbonnet at running back 21 this week. So back end running back 2, because of the volume, it's volume driven running back 2 type of performance that we're expecting. I'm still starting Breece Hall over him. I'm still starting Raheem Mostert. You're starting Ramondre Stevenson. I know David Montgomery, it was questionable earlier this week. He has now got a full bill of health. You're starting him there. Brian Robinson, even I have over Zach Charbonnet at this point. We're not getting cute and starting Charbonnet over any of like the Zach Mosses of the world or the Kyron Williams. Like that is just too far of a tier. You're starting Kyron, you're starting Austin Eckler, you're starting Zach Moss, Raheem Mostert, those types of players. Even Jaylen Warren, I'm starting over Zach Charbonnet this week. Okay, let's look at some of these. What's going on, you fantasy sickos? Nicolo Sorrentino, shout out to you. Let's go. Let's get hype before this Dallas defense. Yeah, so, I mean, most people have defense special teams on lockdown. But the reality is Dallas is a top 5 defense for fantasy just about every week, given the pressures that Micah Parsons has, given the pick 6 opportunities, the pressures. I know that Vander Esch is now out pretty much for the rest of the season, but you're starting the Dallas defense, even if it's against a Seattle offense that needs a DK game to stay competitive. Okay, Tyler jumps in. Shout out to you, Tyler. He wants to know who scores the first touchdown tonight. I'm putting some money on it. Let's go.
Shout out Tyler. Been on a tailgate with him before. This is not gambling advice because I don't play the first touchdown market too often. But I'll go Jalen Tolbert, quietly earning a lot of the usage that Michael Gallup used to have at the beginning of the season, getting some red zone targets. CD and Jake Ferguson are the big 2 in the red zone for Dallas, but Jalen Tolbert recently has been kind of significant. So I'll take Tolbert, but if someone on Seattle is scoring first, which I think could happen because Dak struggles early, don't sleep on the man whose cousin was called up today, Noah Fant.
Noah Fant. Love to see it, Noah Fant. My best ball teams need some Noah Fant. Let me tell you, I've been drafting so much late Noah Fant. It's disastrous. It has been absolutely disastrous. I love that call, the Noah Fant call. Not only for all of my best ball teams. Big week this week, some banged up players. So we're getting some information just now about Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is dealing with a quad injury. He is DNP so far this week. We have some concerns about his availability. Olave's got the concussion. Breece Hall, Achane. Do I start Rico Dowdle tonight over any of these guys to hedge my bet if one of them loses time, or should I start Justin Watson? Oh man, you're trying to go with a too deep of a cut, in my opinion. This Rico Dowdle talk. I was one of the first, Ahaan. I was one of the first to be reporting into the fantasy news cycle. This is why I was brought onto the news desk, because Rico Dowdle, running back 2, was the news. But I need to put a damper on it because he's running back 38 for me this week. There's not a ton of optimism. You need like Tony Pollard bust game. And I don't think Tony Pollard's going to have a bust game. I have Pollard as a top 4 running back this week. Seattle's given up a lot on the ground, both this year and last year. I'm not too worried. Maybe this is a Rico Dowdle. The best he can do is a flex type of week for you. But those players, Keenan, Olave, Breece Hall, Achane, have like their positional top 12 upside every week. So you're not starting Dowdle.
Yeah, I agree. If I just looking at the names that were on the screen, like you have to take your chances for the ceiling if they do play, because we know how the NFL works. If someone is reported healthy, they could be a decoy. Someone is reported not healthy, they can score 2 touchdowns, right? Like, so we can't panic and start Rico Dowdle. And if you have to end up pivoting to Justin Watson, I actually don't mind him, because Justin Watson is, I mean, it's icky to say it out loud, second best wide receiver on the team, right?
Yep.
And tied to Patrick Mahomes, he is. It's just how it is. So yeah, if you have to start Justin Watson, don't start Rico Dowdle, please.
No, it is okay. You do not need to do that. But to your point, Ahaan, about Tyler Higbee being declared inactive and not being declared inactive, and then scoring 2 touchdowns in the first half, like those things happen, people, and that's a reality. But nevertheless, Anthony chimes in and he says, Deron Bland, go for it all. Pick 6 to start the game. I'm so here for that. That's probably really bad bet. Nevertheless, FanDuel
offered at plus 2,700 last week for Deron Bland to score a touchdown, and it hit. But we all know that's a terrible bet. They're offering it again at plus 3,300, and I will tell you again, don't take it.
Oh my gosh, this is wild. We got hot take Dowdle. I'm here for it. I love that FlowSource is trying to get into the hot takes. Tyler says bets are in. Bets are in. Let's go. We're here for that. Awesome. Curious, what is the ticket? People want to know. All right, we're getting back into some of the start sit questions. Pick 2, Deontay Johnson against Arizona. That's a pretty good matchup. A JSN against Dallas, which we talked about where JSN's kind of ranking right now, or Lockett versus Dallas, or Puka versus Cleveland. That's a tough matchup, and but Kupp may or may not play. We'll see what his status is for Sunday.
This one is very easy for me. Deontay Johnson against that Swiss cheese Arizona defense with Matt Canada out of town. I know Pittsburgh didn't put up a lot of points last week, but the offense did look a little bit different, and a lot of them not scoring was fluke. They put up over 400 yards. And Puka, I'm fine against arguably the best defense in the NFL and the Browns. I'm fine with that, because if you think that Stafford is going to, be gotten to a lot early in the game, well, that's more volume for Puka. And even without that, I think Puka is going to be the guy that the Browns zone in on Cooper Kupp if he plays, and Puka gets a high ceiling, because of that red zone usage. And already covered, don't like JSN or Lockett as much today. So Deontay and Puka.
Deontay and Puka, you guys heard it here first. Also, I want you guys to take a look at our data analysis tool.
All right, I want to take a moment today to talk to you about data analysis. The data analysis tool, we listen to the users. What do you want? What do you need? And we made it happen. We added popular reports like a fantasy scoring report, air yards report. And if you want to create a new report, but you don't necessarily want to look through every field, we have quick results. Hey, show me the most popular passing data. Show me the most popular rushing data, fantasy data. Done. And the thing just is much faster than it's ever been. And the report builder got a lot easier. I mean, check this out. We break it down into offense, defense. Show me just fantasy data elements. And then when you get results, hey, show me by draft year. Let's take a look at just certain players that played a certain number of snaps or a certain number of games last year. This is the tool that so many of you have been asking for, plus a bunch of dream features that Billy wanted and Cody wanted and I wanted and Dario wanted. So go to the fantasy tools section, click on data analysis, or go to playerprofiler.com/data-analysis.
That's right. Get the data analysis tool for sure. Daniel jumps back on and said he needs to pick a tight end. It's Jake Ferguson or Pat Freiermuth, and they are back-to-back in my rankings. 7 for Ferguson, 8 for Freiermuth. Freiermuth is consensus 9, but consensus 7 for Ferguson. It's a coin flip. I feel like the Arizona defense might be the difference, but Seattle's also not very good either. So how are you feeling about this, Ahaan? What is your read on this situation?
Freiermuth for me, just because Ferguson, we already know that. I mean, maybe not all of you know, because the casual crowd maybe doesn't know, but the player profiler crowd, we know that Ferguson is not that great of a player. And they're starting to actually realize this just a little bit by getting Luke Schoonmaker involved in the red zone packages. So this is, for me, it's just take the better player against a slightly worse defense in Freiermuth. Don't overthink it. Yeah.
Okay. The coin flip for Ahaan goes to Freiermuth. Senor Football, what's up, guys? Should I start Stroud against the Broncos or Purdy against the Eagles? Player Profiler ranks Stroud pretty high. Right now, I have Stroud at 5 and Brock Purdy at 8 at quarterback. I know that Philly gives up a lot of points, but this is also a Philly defense that can step up from time to time and does not need to get into the shootouts. Whereas Stroud versus the Broncos, I know that the Broncos have played very well and they've been a top 10 DST for fantasy each of the last 4 or 5 weeks or so. But this CJ Stroud is not DTR, right? They're very two different quarterbacks. And I think that this game could get into more of a shootout and be a bigger test for the Broncos than in previous weeks.
100% agree with everything you said. I think the way I approach these quarterback situations like this one is give me the guy that has a higher chance to be the QB1 overall. And it's just that simple. And for me, it's Stroud because they could get into a shootout, like you said. And Purdy, he could throw for 400 yards and not be a top 5 quarterback just because CMC eats all the touchdowns. And you don't really have that sort of a situation with Houston. So give me Stroud.
All right. We both lean Stroud here. Tyler says it's Noah Fant plus 4,000. Let's go, baby. And I like Fant or JSN if Seattle scores. I like it too.
All of a sudden, we're a Noah Fant fan club.
This is great. We are so here for the Noah Fant. For the record, I have Noah Fant at tight end 21 this week. So back end tight end 2. Not a lot of excitement because of Colby Parkinson and Will Dissly always gets 3 annoying targets here and there. But Jalen Tolbert for Tyler is also the pick at plus 2,800 first touchdown. Lots of fun here. Okay, cool. This has been great. Let's see. Any other notes that we want to make about tonight? We're not taking any deep shots on DJ Dallas or anything like that, right? There's no, even in DFS, that's not worth the price. There's not a lot of good values out there outside of the couple obvious starts that you're playing. You're playing Dak and you're playing CD. Those are your set it and forget it type of guys. Okay, we talked about Ferguson as being maybe a fade relative to Pat Freiermuth. Ferguson or Taysom Hill this week?
Oh, that is disgusting, Bradley. What are we doing? I don't like Ferguson, but you're going to make me pick Ferguson because that's probably the correct thing to do. He's the leader of the team in red zone targets, even after Luke Schoonmaker started getting involved. The leader of red zone targets is not CeeDee Lamb, it's Jake Ferguson. Take Ferguson, man.
Okay, another one, Ferguson or Njoku?
Oh, I love David Njoku this week. He's the tight end 1 for me this week. A little bit of an exaggeration. I just wanted to clip there. But I think he has the tight end 1 ceiling this week. Joe Flacco is not bad for David Njoku. We got to stop this. Oh, Joe Flacco, might be playing, so David Njoku goes in the gutter. Absolutely not. He loves his tight ends. Joe Flacco is the guy that they will throw 50 times with if they need to and rip his arm off, and it's fine. David Njoku has gotten 11 red zone targets over the last 6 weeks. Those are Travis Kelce numbers. He's been getting the targets. He's been getting the red zone volume. He dropped a touchdown the other day. Give me all the David Njoku this week.
Yeah, Njoku leads all tight ends in targets, just pure targets over the last 3 weeks. He has been an absolute monster when it's come to earning targets, especially in an offense that needs to get things going. And unfortunately, Njoku did drop that touchdown, but better days are ahead. Targets are earned, especially at the tight end position. There's not a lot who can be earning that type of target volume. That's the reality. Daniel jumps in. We've got a couple minutes left. Daniel jumps in. Do you trust Carroll's words that JSN will get more usage going forward in his media conference? The ever optimistic, the ever joyful Pete Carroll. He could be telling you that he ran over your dog and do it with a smile. Like, this is the type of coach that he is, and people will run through walls for him because of his positivity and his outlook. I'm not taking Pete Carroll at his word because Lockett and DK Metcalf are just so established in their earning of targets. Maybe next year for JSN, maybe the end of the year if there's an injury. But for right now, I think we wait on the JSN breakout.
The last thing I want to do on a tailgate show is sound hot takey and, have people come after me. But you look at Jackson Smith-Njigba's player profiler page. Look where he was ranked as a prospect, how people were saying he was a consensus wide receiver 1. He is going to be arguably the best non-quarterback of the class, et cetera, et cetera. The expectations that were set for him. And look at his player profiler page this year and tell me that he's lived up to the expectations. You can't. I don't trust Pete Carroll in general, but I don't trust Jackson Smith-Njigba as a player anymore based on what I've seen for at least the rest of this year. He can get better in future years. I want him in Dynasty. This is a buy low spot. But I want to start this dialogue that Jackson Smith-Njigba has been a disappointment. He ranks number 59 in true catch rate, right? He made that great catch one-handed last week. He still ranks number 59 catch rate. He's at 4 drops, and drops aren't sticky. But the fact that he's not getting as open, despite playing in the slot, as he should be, and not catching the tough catches either, Jackson Smith-Njigba has been a disappointment. So I don't trust him as a player rest of the season.
Ooh, don't trust JSN, the player rest of season. There was a great debate between Theo Greminger, shout out to Theo, and Billy Muzio, shout out to Billy. In the off season, before it started, there was a bet between them whether JSN would finish as a wide receiver 36 or better in fantasy points per game. Right now, he's wide receiver 58. Pretty much JSN needs to be a mid-pack wide receiver 2 the entire rest of the season to get up to wide receiver 36. Anthony says, are we rest of season team Billy or team Theo? Unfortunately, or fortunately, I've been team Billy for years and years. Billy and I go way back, so I can't not be team Billy. Sorry, Theo. Shout out to you. But team Billy it is.
Yeah, I mean, I forget who had which side. I'm on the
Billy was outside of 36. Theo did have JSN top 36.
Yeah. So I'm team Billy as well.
All right. I think they doubled back in like week 10. Yeah, double or nothing sort of deal. This has been a lot of fun. Ahaan, this has been great. We're here for a half hour. We brought the Thunder. Make sure you guys are checking out each of the tailgates. So I host this every Thursday. I bring on guests, superstars like Ahaan and others in the industry to bring the fire for the tailgate, to roast our opponents and bring us to absolute victory to start the week. So make sure you guys are checking this out, not only on Thursdays from 7:30 to 8, but also Mondays. There's the Monday night tailgate. Tyler crushes it there as well. So make sure you guys are checking that out. And then, of course, check out the Sonic Truth this Friday. That's tomorrow, my birthday. How they're having podcasts on my birthday. That's right. They are. The Sonic Truth podcast is live on the Player Profiler YouTube channel tomorrow. Check it out. Make sure your notifications are on. If you love the content and you haven't yet subscribed, smash the subscribe button. It's been a lot of fun, Ahaan. Any last words for our people?
You called me a superstar. I'm a superstar the way Jackson Smith and Jigba is a superstar. Right? I have to establish myself a little bit more first. But I appreciate you having me on. I hope everybody, if you're starting Michael Gallup, hope he scores a touchdown. I'll just say that. Those are my last words. That's it. Michael Gallup scoring.
As they like to say, establish the Ahaan.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.